Hey everybody, and welcome to I Speak Organized. Today I'm going to be chatting to you about a very highly anticipated video on my channel, which is how I started my professional organizing business. And I've gotten a ton of questions on the platform and DMs from people all over the world, which I think is kind of insane, and I'm really honored that people have reached out to me to ask me for advice on how to get started with their business. And I'm happy to share all of the steps that I've taken. I'm going to give you a little crash course. The first being how I knew where to start with getting my business off the ground. The second being how I found my first clients. And the third, how I took the first steps legally to get my business started. This is definitely a multi-video series. When I started filming this, I realized that I couldn't fit all of the information that I wanted to share with you into just one video. I want to give you a pretty comprehensive video guide to starting your professional organizing business. So if these are things that you are curious about in your own journey for becoming a professional organizer, then stick around and let's get into it. My name is Melanie and I'm your professional organizer and productivity consultant. What does that even mean? Hey everyone, and welcome back. If you don't know me, my name is Melanie and I'm your professional organizer and productivity consultant. I help hardworking families and professionals find form in their space and purpose for every phase of life. And if you are into all things home organizing and decluttering, as well as motivation techniques and productivity practices, then you definitely are going to want to consider subscribing to my channel. I make new videos on those subjects every week, and I would love to have you become a member of my speaker fam. All you have to do is hit the little circle icon of my face at the end of the video, and that will make you an official subscriber, and you won't miss any other opportunities to learn something new about organizing and productivity. Also, be sure to give me a thumbs up and hit the little bell notification so that you are notified when I post new videos. Okay, so you've secured your social handles and your domain name for your website. You can kind of let those things sit for a while because building your website and your social media is definitely an undertaking, and that's a whole nother conversation that we can have later in a different video. So the next thing in terms of starting the process of setting up your business, I'm looking at my notebook here in case you're wondering what I'm staring at down here. I took to Facebook primarily, and I started joining groups. So I will link to the Professional Organizers Think Tank Facebook group that I joined. It's a fabulous group. It's got 10,000 plus members of organizers from all over the world who are current working professionals in the industry, and it is a great resource for people to get questions answered. I see tons of newbies that come in and will just ask the questions that you would want to ask to people in the industry, and everybody is all too eager to help. So if there's any sort of information that you need, you should consider joining that group. It's free, and you can kind of be a fly on the wall as well, and you can look through the feed and see what people are doing on a day-to-day basis in working with clients. And a lot of professionals come up with questions of things that you wouldn't even really consider unless you were out on the job, and so it kind of gives you an insight into a day in the life of working as a professional organizer and some of the things that we come up against and issues with clients and different types of jobs. There's tons of different organizing niches that people become interested in and then specialize in their field. So that brings me to my next point. So after you have joined, a Facebook group like that for some support and some ideas and some insight on the job, is to then sort of start to brainstorm and think about what you want to specialize in. I've met people who do only photo organizing and memorabilia. I know people who have worked their way into genealogy studies. I know people who only do moving services. I know people that do home staging. I've met organizers who specialize in academic organization for kids. I know people, I mean, you get the idea. There's tons and tons of different ways that you can go to set yourself apart from other people in your industry, in your area. If you specialize in something, you're going to be more likely to get clients that other people might not be able to help. Choosing a niche can be a little difficult, especially if you're new to the industry and as you start to realize just how many different ways you can go and directions that you can take your business and what you can specialize in. I would recommend going down to the description area of this video and getting yourself an Audible subscription if you don't already have one, because I'm sure you're really super busy and may not have a ton of time to read.
Hey Mom!
Yes?
Do you want some Maggie?
Yes, I can get you some milk in a second. Mommy's filming, so just let me finish this clip and I'll get you some milk, okay? Check out any audiobook by Peter Walsh. He's probably best known for being the television personality on Clean Sweep. If you've ever seen that show, you can check out audiobooks by Marie Kondo. She's got all of her best-selling classic organizing books on Audible, and The Home Edit also has their book on Audible as well. There are 3 very different styles of organizing between those 3 people, so it kind of gives you a good range of methods that you can see what resonates with you, what clicks with you the most, and start to develop your niche and your method of organizing for your own clients. All right, so the next thing I started thinking about when starting my business was my slogan or my elevator pitch, whatever you want to call it. I wanted to think about the types of clients that I wanted to pitch to, like the types of clients that I want to work with. So my ideal client is somebody who is hardworking and maybe has a family, maybe is an entrepreneur themselves, so they're a professional. They're somebody that's super busy and they don't have time to get organized. I'm not necessarily looking to work with people that are clinical hoarders. They have maybe a case manager, they have a therapist that you're working with. You need a lot of experience, and it's definitely something that people go to specialize in, and they have a lot of education and training to do that. So I'm not looking to work with clinical hoarders. I'm not looking to work with, small businesses who need really intense bookkeeping, filing systems. That's pretty outside my wheelhouse. So my ideal client is somebody who needs help organizing their pantry, or somebody who needs help setting up a filing system for their small business that, they run an Etsy shop or something like that. So my slogan or my elevator pitch is serving hardworking families and professionals. That's how it starts. So then from there, you've established who you're targeting, and then the second half of that is establishing the problem that you will solve for that client. So I serve hardworking families and professionals to find form in their space and purpose for every phase of life. So those are the things that I value, that I bring to my clients. I chose the word form very intentionally so that it sort of conveys that I'm helping my clients achieve aesthetic function. And then purpose for every phase of life is speaking to families who, maybe I'm working with a mom who's about to have a new baby, and so she's in this phase of life where she needs help getting her systems set up. And then maybe it's speaking to a client who their last kid just graduated from high school and they're off to college and they're out of the house, and now they need to turn that kid's bedroom into a home office because they're working at home, and so they're in that phase of life. Or we're trying to give purpose to the spaces that we're working on for the phase of life if you're in some sort of transition. So you want to sit and think about developing your own elevator pitch and who you're speaking to and the problem you're going to be solving for them. And that's kind of how I came up with mine. If you are thinking of starting this business because you want to make a bunch of cash really quick, or you think it's going to be a fun way to make extra money, I would really advise you to think a bit deeper and make the reason for having this business be very deeply rooted in your heart and soul. And if you want kind of an idea of where it came from for me, like my why, my really deep reason for starting this business, check out my first video that I did about this, of how I became a professional organizer. I kind of dive a little bit more into my background and the different types of jobs that I had and the career path that sort of led me to professional organizing, and how the industry really touched my heart and made me realize that I had a higher purpose in helping people achieve a better functional life at home. And so if you want to dive into that a little bit more and sort of like my mental headspace, go check out that video. And if you're looking for a really good outline for creating your business plan and working on your mission statement, and you need something that has a lot of clarity, I recommend picking up this book, Mastering the Business of Organizing. And it's written by a woman named Anne Bloomer. I hope I'm not butchering her name. I'm actually in a Facebook group for blogging organizers that she's a part of, and I just found this out the other day, and I had the opportunity to speak to her directly and comment and say, like, I love your book. And she is a really nice lady, and she's actually based in Oregon, so she lives pretty close to me, which I didn't know until recently. But her book, this book, is fantastic. The other question that I wanted to address quickly in this video was how I get clients, and that could be a separate video, and I think it'll probably end up being part 3 of this video series, but I wanted to give you just a place to start if you are interested in starting to find some clients. So, you know, I would say now my business is established well enough that 90% of my clients come from either social media inquiries or referrals, and most of my business comes from referrals, and that's sort of by choice, because I ask clients that I love to work with, that are like my dream ideal client, I really hit them up for referrals. As you become more comfortable in asking for that help, definitely don't be shy about it. And when I was very first starting out and I didn't really have that network yet, I did ask for those types of recommendations from friends and family, and I would bring it up ever so often, and I made sure that I had business cards made up. I went through Canva. I'll talk all about that in a later video. But I do use Canva for all of my design and branding and everything, and I do all of that myself as well. But I made sure I just had some really simple business cards made up, and I gave those to friends and family to say, hey, please, you know, toss this to your cleaning lady, toss it to your next door neighbor, you know, things like that. And then I started working with a lead generation service like Thumbtack. Thumbtack was great when I first started my business. It's really straightforward. You build your profile. They charge you per lead if somebody's interested in you and contacts you to, you know, set up a consultation or learn more information about working with you. I think it was maybe $8 to $10 per lead, which is a pretty nominal fee if they're paying you a few $100 to work on a project or whatever, you know, you end up charging them. We can talk about that in a later video as well. I mean, I found some of my absolute favorite clients who now refer me to other people just like them, and I rely less and less on the lead generation services like Thumbtack or Angie's List. But when you're first starting out and you don't really have your network established yet, it's a great way to get new clients. The next thing that I did was start to work on my website, and I'm not going to dive into all of that right now. If you would like to see a video on how I set up my website step by step, please leave me a comment below, because it's kind of an involved process, but if it's something that you guys want to see, I'm happy to take you on that journey of how I built my website, because I built the entire thing myself and I think I did a pretty good job. So if you are interested in checking it out, go to www.ispeakorganized.com and you can scroll through my website and take a look. I came across 3 platforms that were the most popular for building my website, and I ended up going with Squarespace because I'm not a web designer, but I wanted something that had a sort of high quality, high end feel to it that was very professional and accessible, and I think Squarespace is awesome. Yes, there is a little bit of a learning curve, but for the most part it makes everything really easy once you learn the ins and outs of working with it. And they have really good tech support staff. So if you ever have questions, you can pretty much search any question in their tech support forum or get in touch with somebody, and they get back to you really quickly with the answers and point you in the right direction. If you have questions that you want to ask me about setting up the Squarespace website, definitely comment or DM me on Instagram. You can look into doing a WordPress website. I know that a lot of bloggers really love WordPress, so they have an excellent platform if you really want to go hard on the blogging. And the other one that's really easy and accessible, and it's a free option that actually still has a pretty quality look to it and quality access, is Wix. So you can look at Wix if you want to go the free, very easy, very basic route. Okay, I think that's a good place to stop, and I'm going to say that that concludes part 1 of this series of how to start your professional organizing business. And in part 2, I'll dive into the legal aspects of starting my business, and I'll talk to you about how I filed for my business license and my city endorsements and the legal advice that I sought and how I set up my taxes and all that really sort of crazy stuff that I think is probably the scariest part of setting up your business, but I found it to be kind of a fun challenge, and I want to just encourage you to not be afraid of that process and take your time with it, and I will talk you through exactly what I did, and hopefully it will help you get started and get your business off the ground on a strong foundation and something that you can feel secure about. So yeah, we'll talk about that next time. And in the meantime, I hope you have a wonderful day. Again, if you got value out of this video, please consider subscribing to my channel. And if you'd be interested in taking a course with me, I am in the process of starting to develop that. So let me know if you'd be interested in taking a course on this to have a more specific formula of how to start your business. I hope you have a wonderful day. Take care, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.